Hello guys, welcome to AVPro Academy. My name is Ana Ochoa. I'm a sound engineer, music producer, and singer-songwriter. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to set up a session in Pro Tools, how to create it, and also how to import audio files, video files, session data while using Pro Tools as our DAW. Finally, we're going to create a little piece of music using samples from Splice. So get some coffee and let's get started. Okay, so open Pro Tools, go to File, Create New, and then we're getting this dashboard window. Here you're going to find Create, Recent Projects, and also Projects. So in this case, I'm going to create the sessions. You can decide either if you are going to locate your session in your computer, so this is going to be local storage, or you can also locate this session into your account. Then we have the templates, so you can create a new session using a template, and also you can create your own template. So you can create one template for composition, you can create one template for mixing, so you can optimize the time that you're taking to create a new session every time. Then we have the file type, so here you get WAV and IF. So in this case, I'm going to use WAV. Okay, so check this out. Right now, my sample rate is locked, so I can't change it. And the reason why I can't change it is because right now I'm using a different setup, a different playback engine. However, if you're using an audio interface, you're gonna see that you're gonna get here 44.1K, 48K, 96, 192K. So it depends on the audio interface and the clock that you have. Now the beat depth. Here you're gonna get 16, 24, and 32 beat float. And inputs and outputs, so you can use the last use. Now let's talk about sample rate. So basically, sample rate, it defines how many times per second are taken when you convert an analog signal into a digital one. So every time we're recording, we have acoustic energy that's going to be converted into electrical signal, and then with the AD converter, you're gonna get that signal converted into digital information or digital data. So you're gonna see that the sample rate, when you can change this, it's going to say 44.1K, 48, right? So basically, that means that we're gonna take 44.1K samples of that signal. So why is this the option that we're getting? Why not 20K or 11K? So this is actually based on the Nyquist theorem. The theorem states that in order to reproduce a signal, it should be 2 times the highest frequency you want to record. So we know that the human hearing range, in theory, goes from 20 to 20K. So that gives us, based on the Nyquist-Shannon sample theorem, that the sample rate should be at least 40,000 Hertz, right? But 44.1K came from the PCM adapters used in the industry and the evolution of the recording and digital audio. That's why our first option is going to be 44.1K. However, the more samples we get from that signal, the better. So we're gonna get a closest signal that is going to translate the information we're getting from the instrument or the voice. When talking about beat depth, what it states is the number of beats in each sample. Okay, so we can translate that into resolution, and that resolution is actually going to specify the dynamic range, which is the distance between the background noise and the loudest signal we want to capture. So when we go here, we know that we have 16 beats, right? So 16 beats is going to be translated into 96.3 dBs. So that's actually our dynamic range when we have 16. When we have 24, it's going to be 144.5 dBs. And then here, instead of having a fixed point file, we're gonna be using a floating point format, which is 32-bit float. That in theory is giving us 1528 dBs. The pros of using this, or why do you want to use a 32-bit float, is because you want to avoid clipping when you are doing the processing. So if you are in Pro Tools, you are going to be using the audio suite. So when you're rendering or when you're bouncing that information or that process, you're not gonna get clipping. You're going to avoid unnecessary noise, which is introduced by the audio suite. And finally, what we're gonna do with a higher beat depth is that we are not gonna get rounding errors during signal processing. So we're not gonna get those artifacts that are created when we are processing a signal. Now the cons or the downsides, if we have a larger beat depth, then that means our files are going to be larger. A 32-bit float is going to be 50% bigger than the 24-bit counterpart. If you don't have a hard drive with enough space, then that's gonna be a problem. Okay, so in this case, we're gonna use 32-bit float, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to keep my last used inputs and output settings and interleave. So now we have our session. So basically, Pro Tools has two main windows. We have the edit window and we have the mix window. So to go to the mix window, we just need to go to window, then mix, or use the shortcut, which is command equal. So that's basically how you set up a session. Now let's go into practice. So we talk about creating a little piece of music, and what we're gonna do is that we are going to be using Splice. Okay, here we are. So we're in Splice, splice.com. Basically, Splice is a platform where you can find royalty-free samples that you can use on your creative process, your music, and you can use this either if you're a musician, you're a composer, or you're a music producer. You can use this. Here in Splice, you have the sounds, community, studio. Here in sounds, you find the different samples that you can get. You can find the charts, presets, MIDIs. In this case, I create a collection, because you can create collections. I create a collection that is called AVPro Academy, and before I start this video, I got some ideas. So you can see that we have some samples from Andres Torres and Mauricio Rengifo. We have also some samples from Ali Stone, Murda, R&B. So the way that you get these samples into your collection is actually super easy. You just need to go, like, let's say this. Okay, so let's say that I like this sample, okay? So I can either add it to likes, or I just need to drag this and put it in my collection. So you're gonna see that there are some samples with the down arrow, and it says use 1 credit. So the samples, I already download them, so I own them. But let's try it with this one. So you just need to click here, and that's it. Now you have the sample. Let's go back to Pro Tools, and I'm going to be explaining how to import those audio files and how to start working on our music. Alright, so now we are again in Pro Tools, so we're going to File, Import Audio, and here we have our folder with all the samples that we got from Splice. Okay, and then Pro Tools start processing the audio, and we have two options here. We can either create a new track, or we can put all the audio files into the clip list. Here we're going to create some tracks. Going to press to the plus button, and I'm going to create a stereo aux. Here we are. Then you want to start taking all the files.
Oh, why you running away? Why you running away?
This is one of the ways that you can do this. But there's actually another way that you can do it, and it's faster. So you can go to Window, New Workspace, Soundbase. I know, there's a lot of stuff here, but man, this is going to make your life easier. Here we are. So here we have all the audio files. So we just need to press space bar and
just know
we have the audio files. And there's something really cool. You see this? The original tempo of this sample was 125. So if I click here and I press, the playback is actually going to be based on a tempo that I specified here. So that's something that you want to keep in mind, because actually that's going to be very useful when you start taking all your samples into Pro Tools. Okay, here we are. So I'm going to be using this. This is going to be my drums. Okay, let's create a click track. Click. Okay, let's create a click track. So go to track, create click track. I want to change the pitch. -6. Now I want to render this, so what I'm going to do is Shift Alt 3 or Shift Option 3. We use this. So I'm going to duplicate this. So Command D. So to cut, you're going to press the key B as baby. And to heal, it's going to be Command H. There we go. I'm going to reverse this, so Audio Suite, other, reverse, render. Then with the sleep mode, we want to create a fade in, so Command F. Then you can choose either if the shape is going to be standard, S curve, or a custom one. In my case, I'm going to be using this one. And the slope, it can be equal power or equal gain. So equal gain. You see this little icon, that's the fade, the crossfade. So you can do that as well. So auto suite, pitch shift, no. Okay, so it's in C sharp minor. It means that in order to go to G minor, we have to transpose it, right? So that's going to be 6 semitones.
Just know. Just know.
So this is in F major. C sharp minor is the minor relative of E major. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pitch shift in this. So this is in F. So there we have our beat. I mean, it was not a lot of processing. This is something that is just really simple. But as I told you, here you have all the clips that we use in the session and the tracks that we have. So in this case, I could be like, okay, let's create a group, which is going to be called beat. And then here, so Command G. You can also create a group. Either you can go here to help, or you can go to track and create new group. Now what you can do is that you can go to the mix window and start processing your stuff, but that's going to be for another video. This is how you set up a session in Pro Tools and how to create a little piece of music, a beat, using samples from Splice. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comments below so we can know what you think about this video. Also, if you have any question about audio, the entertainment industry, or the creative process, let us know there. And, well, see you next week.